Welcome!
Slowly but surely, older manga and tokusatsu have seen a rise in interest over the years, which for someone like me has been a total blessing, with many exciting and unexpected announcements of series getting official releases. Two in particular that got me especially hyped were 7 Seas bringing on the original Super Sentai and Kamen Rider manga to their classic collection lineup. And I have to say, owning these two manga is both surreal and amazing as a longtime fan of both franchises. To be honest, I almost didn't even know the Sentai manga even existed. I mean, it makes sense that it exists, but I've never heard anything about it before. So now that I've read them both, I want to share my thoughts on the original manga versions of two of the most iconic superhero franchises, not just in tokusatsu, but in general pop culture. However, before I begin, if I may plug myself a bit, if you want to know more about Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, or even just tokusatsu, I've made introduction videos on all three that are perfect for newcomers and fans alike. Link in the description. But with that, let's start things off with the original Sentai manga, Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger, which actually received 2 manga series by Ishinomori to run alongside the TV show. The first was on Shonen Sunday, being slightly closer to the TV show, and the other on Shogaku Go Nisei, which was more action-packed. Both of which for the most part cover the same ground in introducing the Go Rangers. As in both series, we follow Kaiji Tsuyoshi, a young martial artist who is thrusted into the world of superheroics when his father and dojo are abruptly destroyed one day by the world domination-seeking Black Cross Army. Tsuyoshi then finds out his father was a part of the Earth Guard League, or Eagle, an elite task force meant to combat the Black Cross. Tsuyoshi eventually meets up with the other young members of Eagle, like the cool-headed Akira Shinmei, the snarky Kenji Asuka, the always hungry Daita Oiwa, and Peggy Matsuyama, the girl. I'm sure she had more character in the TV show. The Shonen Sunday manga is a very quick read that does have a lot of fun moments with the Go Rangers going against waves of Black Cross soldiers and even fighting against robo-dinosaurs. But I still did find it a tad forgettable. It kind of just finishes just as things were getting good. Which I guess is a good hook to get kids to watch the TV show. The second series on Shogaku Go Nisei still follows the basic plot but gets even quicker to the action. Barely a few pages in and Tsuyoshi is already attacked by Black Cross while playing rugby, only to come home and find his dojo destroyed and father murdered, making for a much more intense start. And while the first series did have a lot of neat fights and robot dinosaurs, the second series provides much more unique and fun looking enemies. I especially love this mirror face guy. While I was more entertained by the second Go Ranger manga, it still just wraps up just as you start getting into it. Both series are fun breezy reads with some historic significance. Unfortunately, I can't say much more than that, since they both don't last long enough to make a more lasting impression. Though considering how long the Go Ranger TV show was, I'm sure that was definitely made up for there. And while not to sound too much like a Kamen Rider fanboy, I did enjoy the Rider manga a lot more. Also, like damn, the volume for it is super thick. This thing is like the biggest manga volume I own. Though it makes sense since it's basically 4 volumes stuck together. Anyways, the Kamen Rider manga follows Takeshi Hongo, a university student and motorcycle pro who one day is kidnapped by the evil organization known as Shocker, turning Takeshi into one of their many mutant creations to conquer the world. However, Takeshi resists Shocker's mind control, escapes, and vows to destroy Shocker as the grasshopper-themed superhero of justice, Kamen Rider. The Kamen Rider manga is very entertaining with fun and energetic superheroics, nicely paired with all kinds of horror thanks to the Shocker monsters. Despite some of their more goofy designs by today's standards, they can still feel threatening. Then there's also the more tragic elements of the story, like Rider's loss of humanity and the grief of the many horrendous acts committed by Shocker. However, just like the original TV show, Takeshi gets severely injured by Shocker, and Hayato Ichimonji steps in as Kamen Rider. Hayato nicely shakes things up in the manga, while still maintaining the quality the series had before him. While Takeshi's run as Rider was more serious and featured horror elements, Hayato brings on more levity, being a much more charismatic lead, and allows the manga to be more open to things like slapstick. While the overall ending to the manga was a bit quick, At least this manga was 4 volumes long, allowing things to be much more fleshed out. I had a really good time with this manga, and I think the key thing to that is this manga's energy. As my goodness, this manga may just be one of the coolest superhero manga I've ever read. And trust me, that should be saying something. I am a massive superhero fan and have checked out my fair share of superhero manga. Throughout this manga series, you are treated to a plethora of panels strictly dedicated to writer moving. Whether it be rushing in to get a couple hits, cool motorbike stunts, or of course, the iconic writer kick. This manga does not skimp on the details when it comes to these movements, really selling the kinetic energy of Rider, leading to so many glorious sequence of panels. My favorite being a scene when Kamen Rider was going against Batman. No, not that one, but honestly I'm surprised that hasn't officially happened yet. Shocker's Batman, in my opinion, is one of the greatest monsters Rider goes up against in the manga, as he really pushes Rider to his limits, while producing some of the most terrifying shots of the series. And gets taken out by one of the most hardcore finishers in the manga, with Rider impaling Batman in the chest with a tombstone. That's absolutely metal. And of course, during one of Rider's encounters with Batman, we get one of my favorite scenes in this manga, and maybe just manga overall. Basically, Rider is taken to the skies by Batman, to which Rider breaks free and starts free falling back to ground. However, we have a multitude of panels showing this, detailing each movement Rider takes during his freefall, making the recovery, landing safely on the ground, only to then follow it up with a jump that turns into a Rider kick. And this whole sequence is probably like 12 pages or so, which is insane. And there's so many panels like this throughout the series. And honestly, I haven't read a superhero manga, or really just a manga in general, that has such a focus on the movement and flow that, to me at least, makes the series a must-read, especially for superhero fans, whether you're a Kamen Rider fan or not, just sheerly due to how much life Ishinomori injected into the movement and action here. Speaking of, seriously, Ishinomori does not get enough praise for his artwork and paneling. The man was a true legend. Sure, his designs may seem simple, but they're super iconic and memorable, and there are some incredible background shots both in the Rider and Sentai manga. I especially love this panel of flying stingrays from Kamen Rider, and both series feature some truly unique and very moody panels, selling the desperation of our heroes. The fights, like I mentioned, are amazing, just bursting with life, and I love the way the first Sentai manga literally starts off with a bunch of rock tiles slowly being broken in half. It just really kicks things into gear, in a really fun and unique way. These are both great reads, not just for tokusatsu fans, but fans of superheroes in general. Which reminds me, in the next video we'll be taking a look at the many manga adaptations of various popular American superheroes. So be on the lookout for that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and feel free to share your thoughts on the Sentai and Rider manga, whether or not you plan to read them or have already read them. As always, I'm Mr.FalconPunch. Stay safe and peace out.